Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
As you all know, I'm a big fan of Kansas history, and I am so thrilled to share the next two segments with you on The Road to Valhalla, Ken Spurgeon's latest release from Lone Chimney Films, an overview of the Civil War in Kansas. Stay with me, Deb Beisel, your co-host for Around Kansas, as we explore this incredible Civil War history of Kansas and Missouri.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers. Around Kansas, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome to Around Kansas. I'm Deb Beisel. We're here in the historic Eldridge Hotel in Lawrence, Kansas, one that was rebuilt after a couple of times. And with me is my good friend Ken Spurgeon, and he is the filmmaker and genius behind The Road to Valhalla, another premiere tonight in Lawrence, and we're just so excited to have you with us. So tell us, Ken, about how you came to make these three films on the Civil War in Kansas.
Well, it's a long story, but just first of all, love of Kansas history. And when we made the first film, which was Touched by Fire, which kind of focuses on Bleeding Kansas, we certainly did. I didn't think at that point there'd be a trilogy. But that story takes place in 1854 to 1861, and it was our first effort. It was a good effort, but there was things that could be improved upon. Then we focused in the second one on the Lawrence raid in particular, Bloody Dawn, based on Tom Goodrich's book. And then this film is kind of an encapsulation of everything. The whole Kansas-Missouri story from the beginning of the war, certainly till the end of the war. And except this time I didn't want to focus just on the bloodshed. I wanted to focus on the total outcome and restoration and reunion as well.
Well, it's a phenomenal film and a real labor of love. I'm so pleased to have been a part of it. And you've got people who have been involved from the very beginning. So a lot of other people that love Kansas history as well. Yes.
Lots of people like yourself and many other historians have been involved. And, we're a not-for-profit, so we've had lots of teachers and educators. Our narrator, Buck Taylor, who's a famous character actor, has been involved through Bloody Dawn in this film. And then people like Tim Ruiz, who's at Constitution Hall in Lecompton. So it's been a labor of love, not just for me, but I think it's been a labor of love for a lot of people who love Kansas history, quite honestly. And we just think, all of us think, that that these are important stories, and I know you do too.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that's the connecting piece between us all, is that we believe they're important and that they need to be told. And who else is going to tell them if we don't tell them and have a passion for them? A lot of us say we want our students and our children to know about it, but then the responsibility for that falls upon all of us.
Exactly.
And so I think that's what motivates me.
Now, if folks don't get to one of the premieres or one of the public showings, how can they get these films?
Well, they can go to lonechimneyfilms.org, and that's L-O-N-E, chimneyfilms.org. The films will be on some form of PBS, whether they're a broader audience or PBS regional stations, but they're coming. And but at lonechimneyfilms.org, they can buy them in our store, and the DVDs will be out soon, probably spring of 2014.
Well, they're a great tool for educators, but it's a great thing for the family to just have and watch, because I'm sure the family will enjoy it as much as the classroom. So it's just again a wonderful labor of love and such an incredible effort by so many people.
Thank you.
And just kudos, good job once more.
Thank you very much.
We're so thrilled to be a part of it, and so thrilled to have so many great interviews with the people that are involved. So stay tuned. We've got a lot more to come with The Road to Valhalla.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Hi, I'm Deb Beisel, and welcome to Historic Topeka Cemetery. Behind me is the grave of Alfred Gray, Secretary of Agriculture. That beautiful monument was dedicated to him by the grateful citizens of Kansas, and you can learn more about his story and those other folks who have done so much for Kansas agriculture by joining the Friends of Historic Topeka Cemetery.
This hog is Hanover hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Welcome back to Around Kansas. I'm Deb Beisel, and with me is Jed Marham. Jed, it's so good to see you.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
And Jed has composed some really wonderful original music for The Road to Valhalla, and you also did original music in the second of this trilogy, Bloody Dawn.
Yes.
In fact, Bloody Friday, is that the name of it?
I called the song One Bloody Friday. Yeah.
Oh man, it's haunting. It's wonderful.
Thanks.
So tell me how you came to be involved with this and just working with Ken Spurgeon.
I make my living playing in the Irish and Scottish festivals. I was doing a festival in Kansas City, Kansas, and ran into some folks that are connected to the Lone Chimney film. And I'd written a song that kind of poked fun at John Brown from the Confederate perspective after reading an editorial from a pretty popular writer in those days. And the rest is history. They thought it was funny and invited me to participate in
It's
in
some
the last
wonderful
film.
history.
Yeah.
So when you take historic events like
Yes.
the Civil War in Kansas
Yeah.
and create songs, what are you trying to do with that?
That's a good question. In this case, and I worked with the filmmaker Ken Spurgeon, talked a lot about what he was thinking about and how he wanted to develop the film. And I asked what books he was reading and what he was basing it on, and I read those books. And we talked more about the ideas, things that he wanted to highlight in the film. And I told him my ideas for songs, and we developed those, and I went off and wrote a bunch of songs.
Now, one of the things that I believe you have a real gift for is bringing, which I really appreciate, being a historian and connecting to people the way I do in history. I think you do the same thing with your songs. You
Yes.
bring out those poignant, very human moments in this, great, grand saga that was the Civil War, but they're
Yeah.
very personal moments
Yeah.
within that war.
As a songwriter, that's what appeals to me. The history is the backdrop as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
It's the human story that appeals to me, and that's why I write those songs. We talked about Bloody Dawn. In that one, Ken asked me about writing a song, and I said, well, how shall I tell a song like that? How can I tell that story? And he said, write it from Quantrell's perspective. So when I read your book, as a matter of fact, I looked for things that Quantrell was noted for saying.
Right.
And I pulled out some of those quotes, leave no stone unturned.
Right.
Let's get these houses burned. We're going to have one Bloody Friday. All of these quotes that I found in there, I just looked for the rhythm in those phrases and found a way to fit those into a song.
So what are you most proud of or pleased with this film and what you did?
Oh, well, I love the theme song, Shines Like Gold.
It is wonderful. It's
Thanks.
wonderful.
And that song just kind of focuses in on the subject of the title. Where did the movie come from? And it comes from the quote from the North Carolina soldier saying that he looked forward to the reunion in Valhalla, where he'd meet and greet all of his comrades,
Right.
friend and foe.
Right.
So that was the whole focus of the song for me.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a wonderful job.
Thanks.
Just a wonderful job. And Jed is so talented, and I've got to tell people, got to get the Banjos We Have Heard on High. It's a masterpiece. It is my mission to get everybody in America to hear it.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
And in Europe. We don't want to discriminate. And in Europe, to hear Banjos We Have Heard on High.
That's a noble mission.
I'm doing what I can. I'm doing what I can. Jed, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful having you with us. We'll be right back.
There's a light in my dreams, burning bright through my memory. It seems all these years, and that light shines like gold.
Roy Fry Western Lifestyles brings the cowboy or cowgirl out in all of us. With a huge selection of must-have items, it doesn't matter if you're shopping for your horse, picking up some Western accessories to add that rustic charm to your home, or simply treating yourself. The knowledge and expertise to dress you your Western best is right here at Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, Highway 24 and Kansas Avenue in Topeka.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here, now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
We've started giving our bulls a shot of multi-min 30 days ahead of our semen evaluation tests. We've seen a decrease in the amount of bulls that don't pass their semen test, and we've seen better semen evaluation scores by giving the multi-min shots. We've seen results with the product. It's just a good product to use.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Dr. Dan here. Whether I'm driving up and down the roads covering the state of Kansas or I'm getting between Riley and Manhattan for my job, I'm driving a Ford truck. I'd like you to come out and visit my friends here at Dick Edwards Ford. They have a truck that'll suit your needs, whether you're looking for power with a Power Stroke diesel, or if you're looking for fuel efficiency with the new EcoBoost engine, they got a truck that's just right for you. They're located 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall in Manhattan, Kansas, and they'll bend over backwards to help you. And I'll see you down the road.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick. In Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road.
Welcome back to Around Kansas. I'm Deb Beisel, your co-host, and I could not be more thrilled than to be sitting here with Buck Taylor. This was one of my first crushes. So, you know, the great thing about being a media person is you get to meet all these people you've admired for so long. And Buck has a starring role and is narrator of the documentary film Road to Valhalla. And Buck, it's just great to have you with us.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you for having me on your show. And I'm pleased to be in Kansas, a place that's dear to my heart, because if there wasn't a Dodge City, there probably would have never been a Gunsmoke, which I was part of for a long time. And
everybody watching, I know all of our viewers for Around Kansas know exactly who Buck Taylor is, newly for years on Gunsmoke, and then of course a very successful career and so many things. Art, rodeo, you do it all, a Renaissance man.
Yes, ma'am, I try to. I'm an aging Newly O'Brien. But I love history, I love our American West, I love our American cowboy way of life. I ranch in Texas and rodeo a lot, as much as I can. I'm a team roper. But I love history. And this movie, Road to Valhalla, is about Kansas history in particular, and Missouri. And if I can say something about the filmmaker Ken Spurgeon.
Isn't he wonderful?
He's awesome. I met him years ago, and I've been a fan of his ever since. And he's used me as a narrator and as an actor. But I want to equate two things that I thought about tonight as I was in the car riding here with Ken. something some student asked him, or someone, you know, why do you like to do this? And why do you do this? And I'd flash back to Gunsmoke. Milburn Stone, who was born and raised in Burton, Kansas.
Right.
And in Gunsmoke, he was the historian. He was the guy that made Gunsmoke as accurate as possible, even though we had mountains in the background, forget about that. But he was operating on a guy.
Right.
And he had this scalpel in his hand. And before he went to operating, they said, action. He went, whoa, wait a minute. He said to the director, he said, this scalpel is like 1927. He said, this is supposed to be 1876. The director said, Milburn, who's going to know the difference? 2 or 3 people? He said, if we're that close, let's make it right. And that's what Ken Spurgeon reminds me of, because his answer was, why do you do this? And he says, because I care. I mean, what a cool thing to say. And what a neat thing. It must be part of Kansans to say that.
It is.
You know, and Kansas, the heartland, man, it doesn't get any better than this. Dodge City was the cowboy capital of the world. You know, that just gives me goosebumps. And like I said, I'm not being corny or anything like that. Milburn was so proud of his heritage. And I was so proud to be part of Gunsmoke and all that. Now I'm part of this. And I'm beside myself.
Well, I'm beside myself to be here with you, and I have to tell you, I'm co-founder of the Kansas Hall of Fame. In our first class of laureates, 2011, I campaigned long and hard to get James Arness, Marshal Matt Dillon, as portrayed by James Arness, and he knew that right before he died. He knew that he was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he was so pleased and sent us a very nice letter. But the world knows America because of Gunsmoke, and what a wonderful ambassador that was. I mean, it's all about community and honesty and decency and taking care of one another, and the values are wonderful.
I agree. I've run across a lot of people in my travels. People constantly tell me, they say, you know, the shows were good shows. Good guys won, bad guys lost. Very simple, but it was a great way to watch and learn.
Right.
And it's rubbed off. I don't know how many police officers have said, you know, when I was a kid, I watched Matt Dillon, and I became a police officer because of him.
What a legacy.
And his integrity and all that. And
what a legacy.
I mean, I got to pinch myself. I thought in 1975, when they canceled it, you know, I said, well, it was great. I was on it 8 years. It was awesome, you know. I'm going to stay with my painting, my watercolors and all that, but it was fun. To this day, now there's little kids this big. Of course, they don't know who I am, but I show them a picture of me. They say, oh, that guy? No, you're not that guy, are you? But anyway, it's still running. It's still rolling. Gosh, it's something else.
We're going to be right back with more of Buck Taylor.
At Wildcat Feeds, the only feed that matters is yours. We'll help you manage your feed costs with our custom blended nutrition. For more information, visit us online at wildcatfeeds.com and call us today for our current mineral specials. Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply. American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer. who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, dressing Northeast Kansas their Western best for over 57 years.
Welcome back to Around Kansas. With me is Buck Taylor, and I just couldn't be more thrilled. Buck, let's talk about the West. And I think there are people especially in the eastern part of Kansas, that tend to forget that they are part of the West. But Kansas, in my mind, defined the West. And what do you think about that?
What do I think about it? I think about the wide open plains of western Kansas. Thousands of square miles of prairie grass, hundreds of thousands of buffalo. It's dang sure the West, and it's part of our western cowboy life, because as you know, the buffalo hunters came. Evolving out of that, the cattle came, the railroad came. You know, one thing led to another, and it's a beautiful history. I didn't tell you this, but from here, along with Ken Spurgeon, we're filming an introduction to the Boot Hill Museum in Dodge City.
Great.
I narrate it, and I also perform in the beginning of it. Mm-hmm. In other words, I ride in on a horse and I say, you know, you may remember me as Newly O'Brien on Gunsmoke and so forth and so forth. You know, Matt Dillon, Marshall Dillon, Miss Kitty and all. We brought the Dodge City in the West, but the Dodge City that y'all know on television was a lot different from the real Dodge City. Now I'm going to tell you about what really happened in Dodge City.
Wonderful.
And it's a neat script that they have. And then I narrate it, and I come and go in different parts. But it's for the museum, and it's things I never really knew about as far as the history of Dodge City, the railroads, the buffalo hunters and all. And I think people will enjoy when they go visit Boot Hill Museum. They get me as kind of an actor type of guy, you know, not a historian, but certainly Dodge City was part of my life in the film, and then we'd show you the real Dodge City.
Now, you've had a very unique upbringing as the child of Dub Taylor.
Yes, ma'am.
You grew up knowing, was it Chill Wills, you said, that was holding your hands when you took your first steps?
No, he didn't have to hold my hand because I took my first steps to Chill Wills.
To Chill Wills. What an incredible story. So you were so blessed to grow up with that group of actors that brought the West to every home in America and around the world.
I know.
And what an incredible childhood.
I'll tell you something else that I like as well. Glenn Strange, who played Sam the bartender on Gunsmoke, a big tall guy, friend of John Wayne. John Wayne told Jim Arness, hire him. He's our friend, you know, they're all buddies together. Well, I roomed with Glenn Strange, and we toured around like Doc and Festus were the A-team. They went to all the big rodeos and small rodeos too. We went to the ones they didn't go to. Phillipsburg, Kansas, for one.
Wonderful.
I started singing, and everybody got up and left. I looked back at Glenn Strange, and he said, Buck, there's a tornado warning. We all got to get out of here. I've had a great life, and this is maybe the best part of it right now.
That's wonderful.
I mean that.
Oh, what a nice thing to say. We love you in Kansas. I don't care if you are ranching in Texas. You're welcome here anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for having me here.
We appreciate it.
You bet.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress. Powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream.